Hello friends and followers. So this is a 2017 Samsung 65-inch TV. It's a 9000 series. This probably applies to the 8000 series, and this applies to them. I think the TVs were made around 2016, 2017. Anyway, I've had this thing mounted with a stand, meaning it was never mounted on the wall. And so now I desire to mount it on the wall. So I've moved into a place that has a wall mount, and the owner left the wall mount on the wall. So the whole then issue was, how do we get this TV to mount on that wall mount? So you can take off the wall mount, I would say arms or adapters, and adapt those to your TV. So the particular problem with the Samsung TV is it uses an M8 bolt down here, and it uses an M6 bolt up here. So I was able to get this leg on here by installing an M8 bolt down here and an M6 bolt here and the appropriate spacers. And it seems like it's looking reasonable. So I simply put a spacer here in the bolt, and I put this spacer down there to hold the bracket up. I suppose I could put a washer in there if it'll still thread. And here's the M8 hole, how that looks. Here's the M6 hole. The threads in this M6 hole are rough, and I had to actually put an M6 bolt in there, twist it back and forth a few times to get it to thread in. You don't want to go in here too far because you'll probably basically crack the LCD screen eventually. So just be careful not ripping these in there too far. Anyway, the kit has another arm, so I would do the same thing with this arm. I would mount it with the upward arrow, and then there's the M8 bolt that would go into there, and the M6 would go into here. Obviously this mount's been used. I'm simply reusing it for this TV as the other person's TV is gone. So these bolts are all metric sizes, and this kit was given to me. It's a used kit, but it had a bazillion bolts in it. So you'll find they're all labeled in most of these mounting kits, M8, M6. You're gonna probably have M8, but you might have an M6 size. The M8 is thicker. This is a typical M8 bolt here. And you'd wanna find one that's an M8 that's, long enough to mount with some spacers. So as long as you have maybe a washer in here to protect it and a spacer, and it goes snug and doesn't rattle around, that's really all you're concerned about. So there's an M8 bolt that you can test that it fits and screw it right in here, and it should screw in easily on the Samsung TV. Again, a 2017 model, which I've never mounted to the wall. The M6 is another story. So let's find an M6 and I'll show you how that works. Okay, here is an M6. Let's see. M6. So there's some M6s right there. In fact, here's an M6 right here. This thing is kind of a bear to thread. So and this one I've never worked with. So to thread this thing in, I'm going to hand thread it. And it'll kind of grip, but then it won't go in. Okay, so it's threaded, but after about half a turn it quit. So the way you deal with that is very carefully get a screwdriver and turn it in a bit, and then back it out, turn it in, back it out, old mechanic type tricks. Turn it in, back it out, turn it in, back it out. Eventually it'll thread, turn it in, back it out. So this seems like these are M6 threads, but I'm not sure why they're so funky, but it indeed seems like an M6. This doesn't thread in very far. Maybe a turn and a half, 2 turns, and that's all it will do. So here we go. We're all threaded in. It's tight. Let's back out to see how many turns it is. There's half a turn. There's 1 turn. This only threads in like 1 turn. It's pretty bad. So that's all I can get out of it, and that's all I'm going to worry about. It's enough to hold it. So again, there's like half a turn, bringing it out. There's a turn, and it's loose. So That's the story on the Samsung. Why is it like this? I don't know. Buy a new TV, but I still have this 2017, so I'm going to use it. That's the story. I'm going to put this other leg on here now and then carry it down to mount it onto the wall. Anyway, that's the story on the 2017. You have an M8 bolt here, an M6 bolt here. This one goes in only about one turn. This one seems a little more generous. That's the story. I didn't write it, but you've watched it. Have a nice day. Good luck with your damn TV.